Hello again, everybody. I'm Derek Peterson, the president of Hope Holdings, founder and CEO of OneWay.com. In my continuing series reviewing alternative social networks, next up is MeWe, MeWe.com. MeWe is kind of a Facebook sort of a model. They've been around for several years now. They've raised, I think, something like $7 million. They've raised in venture capital money thus far. It's a well done site, but first off, before I get started, let me say straight off, I don't consider MeWe to be a alternative social network. They're not really what I would call a free speech platform. If you read their terms and conditions, they state it pretty plainly. I'll read it for you here. These are things that you may not do. You may not post content that is hateful, threatening, harmful, incites violence, or contains graphic or gratuitous violence. Use Me Too to do anything unlawful, misleading, malicious, or discriminatory. So they always do that. Whenever someone doesn't believe in free speech, they always kind of throw in something like hateful that's very subjective with something like inciting violence. Okay. Anyhow, they don't really believe in free speech, obviously. MeWe is owned by a fella, or the founder is a fella named Mark Weinstein. I don't think there's any relation, but anyhow, he's been around a while. This guy, he's a very sharp guy. He's been in the social networking world for a very long time. So, this guy is a pretty, serious player. And again, he's raised $7 million. He doesn't. Again, here's a personal post by him restating. So this isn't some fluke as far as them not believing in free speech. So here's him making a personal post citing his own terms. You may not post content that is hateful, threatening, harmful, incites violence, blah, blah, blah. Right. So these guys say, they're liberal folks. Obviously, they're very liberal folks. The company's run and has been funded by liberal folks. They say that they don't let their politics factor in to the website in any way, shape, or form, but it always does, right? It's always going to bleed through to some degree, and it always ends up, especially if it's some liberal West Coast sorts, they're going to be biased against Christians and conservatives and things like that, even if they say they're not. Okay. I've heard rumors. I haven't seen it personally. I haven't spent very much time on the website about them censoring folks. But I haven't seen it personally, but I know people that have been censored there. They have quite a bit of porn on the site. I've heard, again, I haven't spent much time on the site. I think they do a good job of segmenting it from the general population, unlike all the other alternative social networks. However, I've heard also in an interview that he gave that it sounded like he was going to create actually a porn version of using their technology. If I could be wrong on that, but that's awfully what it sounded like. They're going to try to monetize it, I guess, or I assume in some way. They can't be doing well financially. I mean, they're probably losing $1 million a year. They've gone through 2 or 3 rounds. So he's probably pretty low as far as percentages go. And they don't have a lot more rounds left in them probably without huge dilutions, and no one's going to want to invest if it's not making any money after all this time. So they're probably desperate, and usually when people are desperate, they do sleazy things, people that don't have any baseline morals. So it wouldn't surprise me if they go into some kind of pornography model, which would be really disgusting if they do. He also mentioned that they were going to go into some kind of a business model where they would use their technology to help businesses communicate with each other internally, I guess. That's a good idea. Porn, not a good idea, Mark. So the site's well done, right? Those are all the negative things. The site, as far as a website goes, it's a well done site. The design's really good. Whoever did the design work, I think, is very good. The technology is good. The technology can scale. I think it's probably only MeWe and OneWay.com are really the only two alternative sites that have the potential to scale to millions and millions of viewers or concurrent users without much trouble. I don't think any of the other alternative socials could do that. The again, it's $7 million website, so you would expect it to work. but it is a good site. It's a well put together site, but not free speech, run by liberals, consider alternative, right? If they say it in the terms, then obviously it's, they're doing it to protect themselves because it's, against lawsuits because it's what they plan on doing. He's been a spokesperson for privacy, digital privacy, and things like that. So you got to respect that. I assume they apply those same principles to MeWe, but I don't know that for sure. I've never listened to anything. I just heard that he's a spokesperson in that world. I've never listened actually to any of his work. But that's my review of MeWe. I'm Derek Peterson from Hope Holdings. Thanks. Bye.